Alright, hello everyone. Today I'm gonna do like a quick kind of demo of some things that I do with when I'm drawing mechs or robots. And just kind of want to talk about some things, some kind of tips or ways I go about it. So yeah, let's kind of get started. So one of the things for like mechs is that I usually follow kind of what human anatomy would be like, but you don't necessarily need to know anything about anatomy for a mech. So let's say I wanted to do some kind of a lot of times when I'm doing a mech or a robot, I'm kind of thinking about what that robot's purpose is and kind of like world building almost for the characters. So for this mech, let's say it is some kind of worker mech. And a lot of times, sometimes I'll start with like a more bubbly kind of mech like this one. And I think really whenever I'm doing some kind of character or genre and that sort of thing, I really like to figure out or kind of play around with things that I find enjoyable in that kind of like genre or category. So for like mechs, the one thing I really enjoy is that there's a lot of freedom with how to go about the mechanical parts. Like I can pretty much add anything I want. I can make up like right now I'm just making up random parts really. And I think that kind of makes it very relaxing than when I'm going through and creating the characters or the environment or objects in different scenes. So like for here, just kind of having some kind of, I don't know, like guardrail for the front of the mech. And then I'll have this as kind of the screen. So maybe some kind of pilot sits in front of the mech. Yeah, so the two things I really think about when I'm doing some kind of mech in a more of a scene with some kind of world building to it. I think a lot about the purpose. So maybe this is some kind of working mech, and then I'm like, oh, what kind of working mech is it? Because there's a lot of different things it could do for a job. And also the size too. So like this little dome here, maybe a person sits inside the mech and they're about something like that for their head size. I don't really need to draw the whole head here since it's inside the mech, but just kind of for an example. And then kind of the seat. And then from there, I could draw out the rest of the character and maybe to control this mech, there are some kind of like buttons or knobs down here. And then kind of just find where the other arm is. And then same kind of thing. And for me, like the size and kind of fitting characters in really comes into play, especially later down the scene once I start adding more of the same object and kind of knowing. And I mean, a lot of mechs don't even need to be have a person at all, but sometimes I'll kind of add a person in to just kind of like open it up, make more possibilities for adding different characters down the road. All right, so the chair comes down. Kind of like to think about a little bit how the person would operate it as well. So like a lot of times on my drawings as well, these sort of things will happen where I start with the mech and then maybe a different idea kind of comes along, like drawing the person inside. And then now that person has kind of changed up the design a bit. And I kind of like doing that to explore a little bit. And really, whenever I draw, I'm trying to kind of do whatever I find the most fun, since that will kind of keep me coming back to it every day. And also just kind of, I don't know, it's more relaxing and I learn a lot faster when kind of following my interests in what I enjoy. All right, so for here, we got kind of the arm set up. So from this stage, I'm kind of still wondering what this robot might be doing and that sort of thing. So he's got these arms coming out the side. And a lot of times I might not even know what he's doing until I actually get to the hands. But I think just to kind of come up with something on the spot here. I think I'll do something pretty simple. Maybe have this some kind of like lumber robot. So then kind of like knowing the function of the robot and what he'll do makes it a bit easier to create a lot of the rest. So I know that he's going to be carrying lumber, so he'll need pretty strong support on his arms. So there's a couple things I can do to strengthen his support and kind of have like bulkier arms down here and some kind of like supporting parts that come up. Yeah, add a bit of water on my brush. So I have a bit of supporting parts and also this back part. Could use a bit of support as well. And a lot of like beams and different things can be good to keep the structures supporting. And one thing that I do whenever I'm creating robots and different mechs as well is having these open areas, so like this visor helmet area, and then the suit is more open, and then like the top of the shoulder, this big chunk. So having big chunks and then a lot of the mechanical pieces kind of tied in here and underneath, since a lot of things in life and especially like anatomy. If you think of the most complex areas like on a human would be like the insides. So and for like protection, so a lot of the important inner workings of the mech would be inside it, and it's kind of like I like the look of that too. It's kind of has an appealing look that it's like a contrast between open spaces and then a lot of detail. And I'll kind of do that a lot on my drawings, especially in like more more complex scenes with not really that much more complex, but just a lot of things happening on the page. But yeah, so now I'm just thinking, how is he gonna grip onto some kind of tree branch here? So I'll just kind of like almost intuitively making some sort of thing here. And then if I kind of messed it up a little bit and didn't think about this back arm, so a lot of times then I'll just kind of adapt out from there. And kind of just change things up a bit. So I also didn't add the strong supports on this backside. Just do something like that. And then I'll have the kind of hook come onto this backside. All right. And since this is a video about Max, I won't go too crazy on the tree. Make this into a tree video halfway through. But yeah, so this is a mech, and I have kind of its purpose in this scene as some kind of like bulldozer, more humanoid. Not really a humanoid, but human controlled robot. And then like from here, then I kind of come up with how I'd have the lower section. And I see that there's this big kind of boxy setup that I have here. So I want to kind of break that shape a bit. And to do that, I always, when I draw, I use the detail to kind of move around the page and act as kind of a way to just move around. So from here, I'll kind of get, I don't always know what I'm going for, but I'll just kind of like try to connect things and do things on the fly, kind of like piece them together. So for this lower section, I want to kind of split it up from the upper. And then I could kind of repeat. I forgot to mention too, one of the important things that I kind of watch out for when I'm doing mechs and robots is you kind of might have noticed that I try to pay attention to like a lot of symmetry throughout the piece. So like whenever I do a detail on one side, then I'll basically duplicate it on the other side, since a lot of the machinery has to be pretty balanced. But these are just kind of things that I like to play around. Like a lot of the little rules that I set for myself are just kind of like when you think about like a game, sometimes having rules makes it more fun. And if like a certain rule is just not fun, then there's really no point to do it. So the rules, not really rules, they're just kind of like mini boundaries that I kind of put on to some of the drawings. And I mean, I could do another mech that is completely different and doesn't follow any of the same things. And like really, they're just kind of like suggestions. I don't know, but there's never one way of doing things, and this is definitely definitely not the be all end all kind of for drawing mechs. It's just kind of little things that I do to kind of explore the robotic realm and kind of like create characters and different things. And from here, kind of want to go again with the balance idea of the machine and have these legs. Kind of since he's lifting that tree, he's gonna need a lot of support. From underneath here. I'm kind of imagining through where these bottom legs might end up. When I kind of get caught in this detail, I also try to look back at like the bigger whole. So like sometimes when I'm doing these small details, I kind of like look back at the bigger picture and be like, oh, I should probably start moving the detail in a certain direction to kind of balance things out a bit more. And really for this whole character, I've just been kind of doing not too many different shapes here. Besides these like big rounds. It's a lot of big rounded objects. I'm still kind of just winging it how I want to. And do the feet here. I think I'll do kind of a slimmer bottom. Just to kind of balance out some of this. I think to fit this shape a bit, I'm just gonna add these. Maybe some kind of post on the back there. I'll get some ink off my brush and then kind of shade in. Make it a little bit more defined. I kind of thought about on my stream the other day that whenever I go to shade, I think it has like the strongest possibility to kind of mess up. Not really. I guess yeah, kind of mess up the drawing in a way. If I do too much shadows, it can make things very more noisy, especially on a more detailed drawing and a lot of things going on. But it can also really clean up the drawing as well. So I think what I kind of try to do with shading is give some kind of like additive to the drawing and try to not take away, but make it as something that kind of adds to it. If anyone is wondering for the shading, always get kind of a lot of comments about it. I just have diluted ink with water, and then I also have just a cup of water. So when I'm done with the straight blacks, then I'll just dip my brush in the straight water, and then kind of like rinse it off that way. But yeah, it's really nice for shading. You can layer with the wash too, and I'll use it a lot combined with color nowadays. I used to just do a lot of black and whites, but color has kind of been like a really nice thing to kind of add to, especially with more complex scenes and different things that I like doing, where there's a lot of sporadic detail and a lot of like also random characters. And one thing I've learned like kind of over time from doing a lot of the um whenever you're doing kind of characters that people don't know, um it makes it a lot harder. Yeah, so I go with a kind of darker shade. And yeah, whenever I'm doing kind of like characters that don't exist in real life, it gets a little bit harder to kind of like differentiate them between and kind of like make like a lot of people will look at them and be like, what is that? Or like different things. So color definitely helps make make believe things appear to be a little bit more believable, since just the separation alone really kind of makes that happen. But yeah, just some like simple ink washes will kind of make this a little bit more three-dimensional. And really the cast shadow should be a lot darker down there, but I'm gonna keep it a little light so that I can always add something down there later. One thing I learned about shadows that really helped recently is that really a lot of the details will be in the light areas. And one nice thing about the wash is that it actually can wash away a lot of your lines. And a lot of times in real life, whenever there's shadow areas, there'll be a lot of loss in detail and you won't be able to see as much into the shadows. So it's kind of nice that like that automatically happens with the ink wash. So I think that looks kind of nice. I'm gonna pick maybe a blue color, orange. Yeah, so kind of like the focal point that I was talking about. All right. Yeah, so I'm just gonna pick like 3 colors, keep it very simple. But kind of with the focal points. So I really want the focal point to be this upper part, since that's kind of like I think the interesting part of this kind of mech that I got going here. And then, so that's the mouth. I'll keep some kind of green. I'll keep something going like that. And then red is really good for focal points. So since I want my character here, to really be like the focal point, that there's I have a character inside this suit here. And for the suit, I'll go for some kind of different color here. Maybe add some green on the numbers. And finish with kind of a blue. So kind of like the same way that I would go about the details in the big areas. Kind of do that same thing with the coloring too. So I can have a lot of these big areas. This pastel blue. Is it pastel? Yeah, pastel blue. So kind of these big chunks. Kind of knock those out with a blue. So I'm just kind of like looking for any big chunk pieces. And I'll make those dark blue. Wow, it's more of a pastel blue, but it's kind of dark. Maybe make this back piece blue as well. And from here, for like the rest of the blue, I'm just kind of thinking of adding some variety across the inner parts. All right, add some yellow here. The mouth. And then I'll finish off with a mint blue. Kind of want to like stick to one color for the rest. So basically any of the left open or uncolored areas. I'll kind of let some of the ink wash, like that kind of tan brown look, kind of act as like an extra color and add some variety. So I don't really need a gray much. I'll kind of let some of that do the work. Man, I'll just kind of finish it off with this tree here. I'll kind of gamble on whatever this color is. A little bit of a green, but it should work. Alright, so yeah, it's kind of like a mini mini video, I guess. A little bit longer, but just kind of wanna do like a quick demo of like some things that I'm thinking about when doing Mechs. I might do a few more videos this week. Maybe on like just robots in general. I'll kind of see how that goes. And maybe I'll just keep like adding to this each of the videos and just kind of like add a lot of variety and different kind of approaches. But yeah, there's kind of like some things that I've picked up along the way from just kind of like self exploration from sketching my sketchbook. Really, I there's nowhere where that I really learned to draw robots or mechs. It's just like my own observations, kind of like taking things that I've seen from like shows that I like or like games like Gundam, Transformers, and just kind of like seeing aspects that they have and what they use and kind of value in their approach to robots and different things, and then just kind of like add in and then kind of like customizing my own off of that. So yeah, I'll kind of maybe complete this scene as we go through like a mini series, I guess. But yeah, don't want to make this into like a video where it's these are the things you need to do or like that sort of thing. Just kind of want to provide I don't know, some things that might make it easier or maybe some yeah, whatever. But yeah, that's gonna do it for that video. So yeah, thank you everyone for watching. I guess a quick like thing, I came out with a sketchbook collection kind of thing that's like 540 pages. Have it in the description below. You can get on Amazon or the Ingram Spark, which is like the publishing kind of thing I went through. So yeah, that's now available, hardcover and copy. And then yeah, I also have Patreon that I've been uploading a lot of new stuff and kind of like all the things I do off stream and off camera on there. And yeah, so that's gonna do it. Yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.